Hello students, welcome to the class. In today's lesson, we are going to study types of inventory. So inventories are classified into three types, that is on the basis of the production process or on the basis of their elements. Secondly, on the basis of their function, and thirdly, on the basis of material, right? Let us study the first type, that is on the basis of the elements or the production process, under which first is raw materials. So raw materials includes the direct material used in the manufacture of a product. The purpose of holding raw material is to ensure uninterrupted production in the event of delaying delivery. The amount of raw materials to be kept by a firm depends on various factors such as speed with which raw materials are to be ordered and procured and uncertainty in the supply of these raw materials. Second is WIP or work in progress. This includes partly finished goods and materials held between manufacturing stages. It can also be stated that those raw materials which are used in the production process but which are not fully converted into the final product are referred to as work in progress. And the third type is the finished goods. So the goods ready for sale or distribution comes under this particular type. It helps to reduce the risk associated with the stoppage in output on account of strike, breakdowns, shortage of material. So these are the three types of inventory under production process. In this case, it is very important to observe that final products of one company are bought as raw materials for some other company. For instance, many oil drilling companies produce crude oil as their final product, that is the finished goods. On the other hand, the same crude oil is bought by oil refining companies as raw materials to manufacture their final products, such as gasoline, kerosene, paraffin. Then next, the inventory is classified on the basis of the function that it performs. So into which first is movement inventories. Movement inventories are also referred to as transit or pipeline inventories. Their existence is to the fact that transportation time is involved in transferring substantial amounts of resources. For instance, when coal is transported from coal fields to an industrial town by trains, then the coal, while in transit, cannot provide any service to the customers for power generation or for burning in furnaces. Therefore, it is referred to as movement inventories. Then next is buffer inventories. That is, this type of inventories are held to protect against the uncertainties of demand and supply. An organization generally knows the average demand for various items that it needs. However, the actual demand may not exactly match the average and could well exceed it, right? To meet this kind of a situation or this kind of contingency, inventories may be held in excess of the average for the expected demand. This type of inventories, which are in excess of those necessary just to meet the average demand, help for protecting against the fluctuations in demand and lead time, are known as safety stock or as buffer stock. Next is anticipation inventories. Anticipation inventories are held for the reason that a future demand for the product is anticipated, which is quite self-explanatory by its name only. For example, production of specialized items like umbrellas and raincoats before the rainfall, sets in. So the organization anticipates the rise in the demand for such products. Therefore, it is referred to as anticipation inventory. Next is decoupling inventories. So the idea of decoupling inventories is to decouple different parts of production system. Now, as you know that different machines or equipment and people also normally work at different rates. Some work slower, some are faster. A machine, for instance, might be producing half the output of the machine on which the item being handled is to be processed to the next. Inventories in between the various machines are held in order to decouple the processing on those machines. In the absence of such inventories, different machines and people cannot work simultaneously on a continuous basis. When such inventories are held, then even if a machine breaks down, the work on others would not stop. Next is cycle inventory. Now, cycle inventories are held for a reason that purchases are usually made in lots rather than for the exact amounts, which may be needed at a point of time. Of course, if all the purchases are made exactly as and when the item is purchased or the item is required, then there would be no cycle inventories. But practically, purchases are made in lots. The reason being that if purchases are made frequently and in small numbers, then the cost involved in obtaining the items would be very large. So that is the reason, students, the organization also needs to maintain cycle inventory. Moving on to the next category, that is types of inventory under which are classified under the material. First is components. Now there are various components that are required for the manufacturing process or converting the raw material into finished goods, which certainly cannot be uh, put under the raw materials or finished good categories. So that material is classified under the components type of inventory. Next is spare parts. So this type includes those products which are accessories to the main products produced for the purpose of sales. For example, stores and spares items are nuts and bolts, clamps, all such things are under the spare parts. And then lastly, we have consumables. Consumables are that products that consumers buy recurrently, that is on recurring basis. Items which get used up or are discarded are classified under consumables. For example, consumable office supplies are such as products like paper, pens, files and folders, toner or ink cartridge. So these all are consumables type of inventory. So yes, students, these are all different types of inventories. I hope you understood this concept. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Happy learning.